A mostly cloudy and foggy good morning to you. I hope your day is going well for you, wherever you might be. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Looking forward to a prosperous new year, hopefully. A little bit later on, we're going to be talking to Eric Sawatsky from Yo and Yo and find out what Washington has in store for us. And, of course, the markets will be touching base with Cody Harris, Doug Klein, and a whole host of other folks we'll be talking to here in the next half hour or so. Currently 37 degrees at the airport. It is 38 at Radio Center with some light rain and drizzle. Same thing in downtown Midland where it's 38 degrees. Downtown Bay City has some drizzle as well, and 37. Northeast breeze at 15, foggy conditions, 29.81, and rising is the barometric pressure. Unfortunately, that high-pressure system isn't really helping as far as clearing out any of the clouds, at least for the next couple of days or so. Matter of fact, that high is going to be keeping us away from the heaviest amount of rain, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Wind chill, if there is any, is currently 28. Again, that's because of that northeast breeze, gusting to right around 15 miles per hour. There is a frontal system that's running right along the border with Indiana and Ohio. That front is going to try to wiggle a little bit to the north, but it's going to have a difficult time doing it. As a result, the low-pressure system associated with it is pretty much going to track right through Indiana and Ohio and then take a little bit more of a north course once it gets just beyond Toledo. So tonight and tomorrow, that low is going to be drifting almost right straight north through the Detroit area, Port Huron, going to wiggle around just a little bit, and then eventually get swept up in the jet, and it'll wind up off in Lake Ontario and New York State, but it is going to take a couple of days to get there. What we're looking in the process, though, is scattered shower activity. It will increase as we go into the afternoon, but again, the bulk of the precipitation, the heaviest amount, is going to be occurring in the southern third of the Lower Peninsula along the 69 corridor and areas to the south. We could very possibly, over the next 24 to 36 hours, pick up about 3/10, maybe 4/10 of an inch of rain. Very little, if anything, in the way of snow. And northern Michigan isn't going to see much in the way of snow either, as this system is going to be spreading quite warm air over the lower peninsula of the state. And again, it's all a function of that low and the northeast breeze that we are going to be seeing. Now, that breeze is going to maintain pretty much at 10 to 15 miles per hour, not only for the remainder of the day, maybe drop off just a little bit tonight, and then tomorrow it'll pick right back up again because the low will be moving up into the Detroit area, so it will increase the wind speeds to us a little bit more. 44 is our projected high. We're not going to see that temperature drop off all that much, if any, as we go through the nighttime hours. And then tomorrow, our high temperature will be pretty much what the overnight low is going to be and what our projected high is going to be. 44 is what we're looking at once again for a high temperature tomorrow with scattered shower activity. That low, as we said, will be drifting up into the thumb area during the day tomorrow and then scoot off toward Lake Ontario tomorrow night and into the day on Thursday. As a result, we're going to see a decrease in those temperatures because that counterclockwise circulation is going to be pulling some cooler air down over top of us. So Thursday, we're only looking for a high of about 35, but we're still 4 degrees above normal. 30 is going to be our low on Thursday night. Normally, we should be at 19. So, again, as we said before, we're looking at above average temperatures, not only for the work week this week, but all the way through the weekend, because we're not expecting our temperatures to drop down much lower than 34, 35, 36 during the day, and at night, the mid to upper 20s. Matter of fact, the best chance of seeing any sun right now appears as though it's going to be the second half of the weekend. Sunday right now is looking at partly cloudy skies, But again, our temperatures, middle 30s for a high, upper 20s for a low. And moving into the work week next week, Monday, partly cloudy skies, middle 30s for a high. The above average temperature trend, whether it's 3 or 4 degrees or 10, is going to be running well through the middle of January. Precipitation pattern, though, is going to taper off just a little bit. Will actually be below normal for this time of the year for the northern half of the lower peninsula and about average for us in the Great Lakes Bay Area and areas to the south. Record high in this state is 56. That was set back in 2004. The record low, 8 below zero, set in 1981. And a year ago, our high was 27. Our low was 7. We had no precipitation to report. Sun will set this evening at 5:12. Rise tomorrow morning at 8:09. Incidentally, the normal amount of snow for January is just under 14 inches. The record amount of snow for a January was set back in 1967 when we had just under 31 inches for the month. As far as precipitation goes, liquid precipitation, about 1.92 inches. That's what's average for January. More on the weather as we go through the broadcast. Standing by, Cody Harris. We'll take a look at the markets on the first full trading day of 2023. All of that coming up, but first of all, we want to remind you the weather forecast brought to you by the folks at Nutrien Ag Solutions.
Nutrien Ag Solutions has the local expertise to recommend the corn, soybean, and other seed products that are the best fit for your field. Plus, unparalleled agronomic support with products and services to unlock yield potential and improve crop performance from planting to harvest. Ask about our financing options to help you get more from every acre and lead the field. Visit your local Nutrien Ag Solutions branch or go to nutrienagsolutions.com.
They say there's a secret to growing a great crop. At Nutrien Ag Solutions, they beg to differ. It all starts with a strong foundation, and when it comes to fertilizer, there's no question that Titan XE drives dry fertilizer performance. They've been unlocking the potential in every prill of dry fertilizer with biocatalyst technology for over a decade. Visit lpi.ag/Titan or contact your Nutrien Ag Solutions crop consultant to drive your crop's potential today. Farm Service brought to you today by the folks at Weiss Equipment, who want to remind you the Farm All tractor is called the Farm All for a very good reason, because that's what it does. It farms all. Baling, mixing feed, fertilizing, cultivating, furrowing, hitching, digging, chopping, seeding, clearing, irrigating, raking, pulling, loading, cleaning the barn. You kind of get the idea. From a horsepower range of 35 to 140 horse, that Weiss Equipment Farm All tractor can do just about anything. They carry a wide range of Case IH Compact Farm All Series tractors, so you will find the right fit for your operation. From the Value Pack Compact Farm All A to the Deluxe Compact Farm All C and C Series with cabs. This tractor does it all, so no matter what you're doing, Can Do comes in red, and it's called Farm All. Learn more by going to Weiss Equipment in Frankenmuth, doing it right longer. We say good morning to Cody Harris. Cody, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well, Terry. How you doing today?
Hey, we're doing pretty good. I hope the boys in Chicago are feeling good.
Well, I wish I could give some good news, but we're starting off the year on the wrong foot, it seems like. We got all commodities down here pretty big here. It's the first full trading day here of 2023. I kind of dive right into it. Let's see right here. We got cash wheat down 11, 736 on the white, 686 on the red. New crop 23 wheat, that's down 11 as well. 772 on the white, 722 on the red. Looking over at cash corn, that's down 7 at 614. New crop corn is down 5 at 551. And then really taking the hit here this morning is soybeans. Cash soybeans are down 25 at 1417. And new crop soybeans are down 21 at 1331.
So the reason why the markets are doing what they're doing, what's going on?
Well, diving into a little info here today, as we had trading start at 9:30, it seemed to really kind of ramp up the negative direction, and kind of all trading opened up here. And it seems like right now the U.S. dollar index, is really sharply higher to start the year out, and that really seems to be affecting all commodities across the board. And as far as soybeans are concerned, the one that's taken the biggest hit, got a couple prospects that came out over the weekend that the Brazil is about or maybe projected to harvest a record large crop of close to 5.6 billion bushels. If that were to be true, that would be about 1 billion bushels greater than what they produced last year. So I think you're seeing that really affect the market. In addition to that, we've been watching the Argentinian weather, especially for that corn crop, where they got a little some better than expected beneficial weekend rains over the weekend down there in Argentina. So that's kind of affecting maybe that crop outlook. So got a lot of weather that's really affecting it too. We got some weather, obviously, the rain that we got over the weekend here in the U.S. and across the Midwest and into the Delta. That's propping up the soft red wheat crop. At least, we're getting some rains that are definitely helping crops out around the globe. And I think you're just seeing that in addition with some global pressure kind of pushing the market down here this morning.
I kind of figured the weather had something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Cody, thank you very much. You have a great day. We'll talk to you again soon. All righty?
You as well, Terry. Thank you.
You bet. Cody Harris over at Star of the West. A little bit more as far as what's going on. Doug Klein from Oppenheimer joining me right now. Market Report brought to you by Kryjak's House Family Restaurant in Bay City. They're wishing each and every one of you a very happy new year, and they want to make it happy and continue for you to be happy, especially if you've got an event coming up. They'll supply the food for you. All you got to do is just give them a call, 989-894-5531. You can stop by, pick it up, and off you go. You'll have a very successful event, whatever it is, especially when it comes to the food. And don't forget, Kryjak's House is a great place to dine in as well. Take a break after the holidays. Dine in at Kryjak's House, corner of Cass in Michigan, on Bay City's south side. Say good morning to Doug Klein. Doug, how's things going today?
Well, things are interesting today, as always.
Always interesting.
Stock market started out on the right side of bed, but just kind of sort of falling off the face of the earth again. The selling continues there. Just as a side note, the S&P 500, our target is 4,400 on the S&P, so it's trading right at 3810 right now. Kind of sort of maybe thinking it might go up 25% this year once the Fed quits assassinating our free market system with their higher interest rates. So that'll be nice to see. Energy is the second year in the row that it has been the number one performer in the stock market. It's been over 20 years since we've had a three-peat of any sort, and that was healthcare even before the year 2000. So highly likely that energy will not be the number one sector this year, although we still think that crude oil is going to trade between 65 and 90 for the year. And kind of sort of think gold might actually hit 2,000 this year. So for all you gold bugs out there, there's hope still. And I noticed that natural gas is very close to a new low for the year right now. And that's really interesting because it was just a shade over $10 a million BTUs not very long ago, like 6 months ago, and now it's at $3.75. So, geez, cheap right now. You would think that propane might follow suit, and some of the other energy prices might follow suit. But
well, you'd think.
You'd think if
there
was a nice free fair market, but.
Yes. I got a funny feeling I know what direction you're going with that.
Oh, God. So anyway, here's the numbers. The March corn, 671.5, down 7 cents. The September of 23 corn, 621.5, down 5.5. March soybeans, 1498.5, down 25.5. The November of 23 soybeans, 1394.5, down 22.25. March wheat is 777.75, down 14.25. And July wheat is 787.5, down 15.5. Crude oil 77.55, down $2.71. Heating oil is $2.1469, down 15 cents. Gasoline $2.3808, down 9.75 cents. And natural gas is $3.74.5, down 36 cents. Over to currencies, Canadian dollar. U.S. dollar buys 136.73 at the border. That's up 101 ticks. The dollar buys 130.98 yen. That's up 25 ticks. The euro's at 105.43, down 119 ticks. The dollar's at 104.66, up 114 ticks. Gold's at 1835.20, up $9. Silver's 24.20, up 16.5 cents. Platinum's at 10.83 even. That's up $9.30.
You have a good day, Doug. We'll
Thanks
talk to you again tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Doug Klein over at Oppenheimer. Joining me right now, Jerry Samolsky, Bay Landscaping and Garden Center in Essexville. Looks like we can get out and do a few things right now, Jerry, if you don't mind working in the drizzle and the rain.
Yeah, when it's just cold and drizzle and the rain even gets colder. But, you know, Terry, we like this rain. It's getting some getting down since the ground isn't frozen. It's hopefully soaking in and getting to the subsoils. We've got some deep moisture losses that we could really replenish this time of year. But if you want to get out and do something, one of the things I've been noticing a lot lately is when trees are planted, and those that are staked, how long should those stakes be on for, Terry?
You know, I was real curious about that because you see a lot of trees staked, obviously for a reason. But how long should they be staked?
Terry, for a newly planted tree, they should be staked for no more than a year and a half. I've seen trees that have been planted that the wooden stakes have been broken off and they're still tied onto the tree, and the tree's holding up the stake. Clearly not the intention. So only about a year and a half, and unstake those trees, remove the whatever is around the trunk that hold them straight, and let them off by their own. That's a good thing.
Yeah, you don't want whatever is holding that stake to the tree actually cutting right into the bark either, do you?
No, we don't. I've got an awful great sample of a spruce tree that was staked, and they cut the wires off, and no one got around the inside of the trunk, and ultimately the tree died from it. But I've got that piece in the office. It's just, it's terrible. But cut those things off and life will be good. The trees can manage on their own just fine.
All right. Jerry, thanks so much. You take care and stay dry, all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jerry Samolsky, Bay Landscaping and Garden Center in Essexville. Let's slide over to Yo and Yo Accounting right now before Eric Sawatsky has 10 people in line to start working on their taxes. Eric, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Terry.
It was a crazy end to 2022, and last week we talked a little bit about that legislation, the omnibus legislation, and we touched on the farm part of it. Maybe you could just touch on that real quick, but there's a few other things that maybe farmers or non-farmers should be aware of.
Yeah, definitely. There are a number of farm provisions that we kind of talked about a little bit last week, but a lot of it's money is going towards different programs, including food stamps and a lot of things that we typically see in the farm bills that get passed every 2-3 years. Some of those just got stuck in this bill and are already part of that. So it'll be interesting to see when the actual farm bills come up, what is actually in those and how this impacts it. But yeah, there were a number of things stuck in this bill. And one of the positive things, at least from the majority of us, from our perspective, that was added, they're calling it Secure 2.0. And this was Secure. The Secure Act was passed back during COVID a couple years ago, and it added some nice provisions, I guess, as far as our retirement plans go. And this one just takes it all a bit further, that number of different things that benefit us. So a couple things I wanted to highlight. One, for those of you that are closer to retirement or in retirement and getting to the point where you have an IRA and have to take out that required minimum distribution, that was a few years ago, that was at 70.5. When you turned 70.5, you had to take a minimum out every year, pay tax on it. Well, that got bumped to 72 back with the original Secure Act. Now it's going to go up to 73 next year and 75 in a couple years, or actually by 2032. So it gets phased up. So those of you who are farther off from retiring, you'll actually be able to leave that money in there to grow till age 75 if you don't need it before the government forces you to take it out. So that's a positive one. And then for those of us that are still saving, they have increased contribution limits significantly, especially if you're over 60. So it looks like from 60 to 63, you'll now be able to put in twice as much of an additional contribution. So another $5,000 or more. In many cases, you'd be able to put each year into an IRA just based on your age. So that's a positive if you're trying to stock away as much as possible. You'll be able to do a lot larger amount starting in 2024. And they're also now going to let that amount grow with the cost of living. Many things are increased every year based on the cost of living adjustment that's made that affects Social Security. That's now also going to increase the amount you can put into an IRA every year. So that amount will continue to grow even if Congress does nothing. So that's, again, another positive. And there's some more items in there that affect employers and what they can do to help employees with their plans, and we'll probably touch on that another day as well.
Yeah, that sounds great. Eric, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You have a great day, okay?
You too, Terry.
You bet. Eric Sawatsky over at Yo and Yo. Let's slide over to Craig Voorhees with Rummel Agency right now. First of all, Happy New Year to you, Craig. How you doing?
Thanks, Terry. Well, we're a little wet this morning for the start of the new year, but Happy New Year to you and everybody there.
Let's talk a little bit about cleanup costs for buildings.
Right. As you're sitting down with your agent this winter and reviewing all your coverages, you know, we always talk about or last few years anyway, we've been talking about the increased cost of building the structure back if something bad happens. But there's also increased costs now in the cleanup. And you want to make sure that expense is also covered. Some policies have additional money available for cleanup and others don't. And you have to build that into the value of the building. So you want to know how your policy works and make sure when you're evaluating your building that A, you've got enough to put it back together, but B, you've also got enough to clean up the damaged part.
Now, do some policies figure in the increased costs of what it would take?
They would on the rebuilding side, but not necessarily on the cleanup side.
Okay, so that's a good question to ask your agent.
It is. It's a good discussion to have. I mean, we always think about what's it going to cost to rebuild it, but what's it going to cost to clean it up should be part of that discussion as well.
I guess so. Craig Voorhees, take care. Have a good day, all right?
Thanks, Terry. We will. You too.
All righty. We'll be right back. Steve Anderson will be joining us in a moment.
Hi, I'm Don Ellens, owner of Ellens Equipment. In 1954, my father started our family-owned equipment dealership. Nearly 70 years later, we've grown from a single store in a small town to 3 locations across central and northern Michigan. Ellens has been blessed with an amazing, dedicated staff who serve our great customers. As we continue to grow, we're searching for more great people to join our team and advance their careers in the agricultural and construction equipment industry. We would love to have you join our team soon. Please apply at ellensequipment.com/jobs.
Along with us, Steve Anderson from Baird & Company. Steve, what's going on in New York today?
Well, sadly, we're starting off where we left off. Dow Jones Industrial Average right now is down 215 points, putting it at 32,932. The volume there is 326 million shares. NASDAQ's off 141 at 10,328 on volume of 410 million shares. Local interest, we've got Caterpillar 237.68 down 192, Deere 422.29 down 648, CMS 63.11 down 22, Dow 50.53 up 15, DuPont 68.47 down 16, Corteva 58.43 down 35, GM 33.68 down up 4. Trinzio 23.10 up 39, Walmart 142.51 up 74, Home Depot 313.92 down 194, Huntington Bank 14.19, that one's up 9, and completely unchanged at 18.41 is AT&T.
All right. You take care. Have a good one, Steve.
I will. You do the same. Let's try to get 2023 cruising a little better here.
Yeah, let's work on it a little bit. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Steve Anderson over at Baird and Company. Farm Service has been brought to you today by the folks at Quality Roasting of Reese, offering competitive, consistent prices for your soybeans. Give them a call for a quote today. Coming up this week, matter of fact, starting tomorrow, the 2023 Crop and Pest Management Update Series begins. It's going to start over in the Ithaca area tomorrow. For more information on that, all you got to do is go to the farm page at WSGW.com, and we have a total listing of all of the Crop and Pest Management Update meetings. There's a series of them that go all the way through much of first quarter. Coming up next week, the Michigan Agribusiness Association will be having its annual winter conference and trade show that kicks off on Tuesday, the 10th, and we'll be broadcasting our program from that meeting. Also, a series of Michigan soybean on-farm research updates are going to be held. That starts next week, and we'll be at the meeting in Bay City at the Doubletree on the 16th. More on all of that as we move through the next few days. And again, for details, you can go to the farm page at WSGW.com. Back at 12:30 with an update. Now we conclude our program with a playing of our national anthem.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City.